And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Tomorrow morning's flying weather, we've got a lot of IFR here, northern interior, right on across the Brooks Range, north slope to the Arctic coast. Then marginal VFR, some areas of IFR here in the central interior. VFR, Susitna Valley, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Kodiak Island, Bristol Bay, and the southern Kuskokwim Valley areas. And some VFR for the eastern Aleutians and out around Adak to Kiska Island. Then IFR with that next big storm coming into the western Aleutians there. As far as the southeast coast goes, not too bad tomorrow, mostly VFR. And for the afternoon, about the same there for the southeast coast areas of marginal VFR, especially to the north. And VFR increases as you head south. Areas of marginal VFR persisting over the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, eastern interior, IFR North Slope Arctic coast, wrapping back down to the north shore of the Seward Peninsula, and IFR advancing eastward with that intense storm to Adak and Atka. VFR for the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, and much of the southwest interior, including Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Susitna Valley, Matanuska Valley, marginal VFR. And then for Thursday morning, we've got this area of IFR pushing eastward here slowly, but not reaching the Pribilofs, marginal VFR there. IFR as far east as Unalaska Island, or IFR as far east as Unalaska Island, marginal conditions up to the Alaska Peninsula. And some areas of IFR here, Copper River Basin, Kenai Peninsula, western Arctic coast there to Point Hope, Cape Lisburne. Good VFR for the Panhandle. And then for Thursday afternoon, IFR into Prince William Sound, Resurrection Bay, the east side of the Kenai Peninsula, in other words, and Cook Inlet, marginal VFR down to Fognak Island. IFR mostly in the Gulf of Alaska with a band right off the coast of the Panhandle. VFR here, as you can see, over the along the southwest coast, Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, northward there along the Yukon River, all the way up to the eastern Arctic coast. Good VFR there. Still some lingering IFR there on the west side. This zone of IFR now sliding eastward to the Alaska Peninsula, extending back across the Pribilofs there into the Bering Sea. Passes Anaktuvuk IFR to start. Lowest conditions for both Anaktuvuk and Atikan will be early on in the morning and then improving in the afternoon to marginal VFR. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, a VFR day coming up for both those passes. Same thing for Rainy. Finally, VFR in the forecast for Wednesday. And windy, marginal VFR, hopefully becoming VFR through the afternoon. Isabel, though, occasional marginal VFR all day long. Mentasta, marginal to start, VFR to finish. And Tanita, marginal VFR at times throughout the day. Portage, same forecast, occasionally marginal. Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR. Freezing levels, 2,000 feet here, well south of Kodiak Island, and then cutting right up in near fault, cutting back toward False Pass here, and then up over the northern Bering Sea, and running about 2,000 to 6,000 feet here over the southeast coast. And for icing, huge area of considerable moderate rime icing coming into the central Aleutians, and then wrapping back around to Shimei and Attu with that big storm, sliding up mostly west of St. Matthew Island. Also another area of possible considerable moderate rime icing up along the North Slope and Arctic coast, and lighter icing threats here over the southeast interior down to the North Gulf Coast. Jet stream, southwest flow, 70 knots into the Prince William Sound area, actually the North Gulf Coast. Stronger flow out of the north-northwest, 70 to 90 knots with strongest winds there right across the Alaska Peninsula. And then out to the west here, the main jet south of that strong low center near the western Aleutians. 9,000 feet, 80 knot winds out of the southwest with that feature coming into the central Aleutians. High pressure, light winds through here, and then northerlies up to 40 knots across the Aleutian Range here. And the eastern Alaska Peninsula, just clipping Sitkinak Island. Light over the interior for the most part, as well as the southeast coast. 3,000-foot winds, light for the Panhandle, variable for the Gulf of Alaska, pretty light over all of interior Alaska. Northwest 25 across the Barren Islands from Kamishak Bay, and 25 to 30 knot winds there, the Aleutian Range, southwest Kodiak Island. But we've got 65 to 80 knot winds, or even 85 knot winds blowing around that intense storm center moving into the west central Aleutians. And with that, we'll find some severe turbulence here for the Adak-Atka area back to the west, including Shimi and Attu, with light to isolated moderate advancing eastward toward Nikulski and northward to St. Matthew Island. Also light to isolated moderate turbulence here, especially for small aircraft, Kamishak Bay across the Barren Islands, maybe Fognak Island, Sitkinak back to the Aleutian Range there.